Hi, it's Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Come with a blog post we want to share with you. Of course, review the latest in social media and technology. And we have all the major phone companies sending us phones to take and review. And this is one of our phone versus comparisons. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and the ChrisVossShow.com to get all the latest updates on all the coolest latest phones. Now, what we have here is from AT&T.com, the LG Optimus G. This is the AT&T version. There is another version out there that's very different, but it's called the same thing. It's with Sprint in South Korea it's found in. Very different build of body, very different camera, so not to be confused with that. The LG Optimus G, you can go to AT&T.com, check it out. The HTC 8X comes to us from t-mobile.com. That's t-mobile.com. It's a great phone for Windows users. People love Windows, and of course the LG runs on the Android OS system. Let's get into comparing these two so we can see how they both map out against each other. The LG Optimus, we're looking at 5.12 in height, 2.82 in width, and 0.33 in thickness. On the HTC, we're looking at 5.21 in height, 2.61 in width, and 0.40 in thickness. The weight on the LG is 5.19 ounces against 4.59 ounces on the 8X. On the battery, we have a 2100 milliamp hour battery that's on the LG, and on the 8X we have a battery that's a 1800 milliamp hour battery. On the display for the LG, we have an LCD color TFT resolution 768 by 1280 pixels, 4.7 diagonal screen. The colors are 16.7 million. On the HTC, we have something fairly similar when it comes to the 16.7 million pixels color. We have a 4.30 inch screen though, with 720 by 1280 pixels, 342 ppi. Both are incredibly beautiful screens to look at and interact with. Now, on the LG, we have Android version 4.04, and on the HTC 8X, we're of course running the Windows 8 OS software. So you can see that there. And on the LG, we have 1.5 gigahertz Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 Pro quad core. It's very whipping fast. The quad core is the real key there. And taking a look at the LG and the Windows 8X, we're looking at a Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 Plus dual core with a 1.5 gigahertz, 1024 megabytes of RAM, 16 gigabytes of built-in storage. Comparatively, the LG, in memory-wise, has got 16 gigabytes internal storage, and it comes with a 16 gigabyte card included from AT&T, 2 gigabytes of RAM, and we put a 64 gigabyte card in. It seems to work just fine. Both have NFC technology in each of them, and let's take a look. The back camera on the LG Optimus G is an 8 megapixel camera. On the front-facing camera, you've got a 1080p, or I'm sorry, on the front-facing camera, well, we don't have the data on the front-facing camera. I believe it's a 1.3 on the front-facing camera on it. And it's a 720p HD out the front and a 1080p HD out the back. And on the 8X, we have 8 megapixel camera on the back and a 2 megapixel camera on the front. It does 1080p HD 30 frames per second out the back. Now, the LG does have expandable memory, and the 8X does not. You can put a micro SD card into the LG, where you cannot expand the memory on the HTC. So that's one major difference that you have there between the two devices. Now, really, what this comes down to is I find that there are some people that are hardcore Windows users. There are, of course, many hardcore users of the Android software, and it's very popular for them in that basis so that they can be able to utilize the different features of the software as they go along. So in taking a look at the Android here, you can see we've got pretty dynamic different screens that you can take and do. You can, of course, create what's called live wallpaper, different things. You've got a lot of customization of widgets and things that you can take and make. You can do a little bit of that over here with the Windows product, where you can have what are called live tiles where they interact. It changes the photos and rotates them, photos that you might have. You can even dictate how they rotate. You've got some Xbox integration. The one challenge that the Windows product does have, of course, over the Android product is a limitation of apps and good quality apps that you can take and get a hold of and utilize well. And so it's definitely a challenge from that thing, but I do find that most Windows users aren't that concerned about apps quite as much. We'll get into some of the cam work and stuff here in a bit. Now, on the devices, for the speaker, we have a front-facing speaker for making calls right up here on the LG, front-facing camera. On the bottom, we have a capacitive touchscreen, which is your back button, your home button, and your menu button, if you will. On the HTC 8X, we have the front-facing camera, speaker with some sensors, and then we have your back button, your home button for Windows, if you will, and a search menu. So you can flip both the phones around so we can take a look at the back of each phone. And on the back of the LG, it's got a beautiful glass back to it with kind of a graphite looking back to underneath the glass. So you've got your camera right here, your flash lamp here, and a small speaker right over here. On the HTC, you've got your back rear-facing camera, you've got your lamp flash. It does have Beats audio in it. Beats audio is really nice when you plug in a set of headphones. It will activate an equalizer sound utility that will take and give you a presentation of great sound, much better than what you would process, and especially if you have the Beats audio headphones and other things of that nature, beat boxes, you can take and enjoy those also. Small speaker down in here, at least it's small in the size of the holes that are on it, I should say. It does a pretty good job with how it operates and everything else. Let's set this aside for a second. We want to take a look at the body on each one of them. Now, the LG body I've been very, very impressed with. It's got a very beautiful build to it. And not to say that I don't like the HTC as much, but I'm very impressed with the LG build. It's very Apple-esque in its quality of build that they put into the Optimus G. It's got a beautiful edge design and cut. Small microphone hole here, earphone jack here on the top. Down the left-hand side, we've got your rocker button for volume. We've also got an area that pops out that's for your micro SD card and your USB expansion card. So you got your SIM card is here, your micro SD expansion card is here, and so you can plug those in, and it fits really nicely into it, which is important because it doesn't have a removable back. Along the bottom, we have your two screws to hold the case together. We have a sync charge port, a small microphone hole, and then across the right side we have a power button. So very cool that way on the LG. On the HTC 8X, we have power button on the top. We've got a microphone and earphone jack. Down the left-hand side, we have nothing. Just a solid body. And then on the bottom, we have a small microphone hole. We have a charging sync port. On the right-hand side, we've got a volume up and down rocker button. We also have a camera shutter button that you can take and utilize to take pictures, which is really important. The back of the device, you've also got a SIM card tray holder here, I should probably mention. The back of the device is very thin and feels really good to your hands. It's very comfortable in setting up, and its beveled edges just fit in your hand really perfectly. And so that's always an important thing with these devices, to be able to feel good in the hand. The LG doesn't bevel to your hand, so it's a little bit more uncomfortable that way. It's a good size for someone with a hand that's my size, like myself, but it takes and to me it's the most perfect screen you can take and have with a phone device. So we love both products. Let's take a look at some of the other aspects of it. Okay, so now let's take a look at the camera. I'm actually pretty impressed with the camera that's on this device. The picture is 8 megapixels. The video is really, really good. The night shots are really good. The flash lamp for nights, for video and for shutter is really good. One thing that's really awesome is the fast dual core gives you a really fast shutter speed, like super fast, if you can see or hear that. really fast, probably one of the fastest shutter speeds I've seen in an Android device. When you go to focus, what's nice is you can set it to focus. It will do a beep to let you know when it's in focus at the point you instructed it to be at, and then it will go ahead and do the photo. You can switch over here on the right side between video and your camera. You've got your shutter button here, and of course your other pictures here. Here you can of course switch between the front and back camera. One thing that's interesting with these LGs, this was on the Intuition that we reviewed recently, is they make it so you can say different commands to activate the shutter and different things on the LG. So you can make cheese or something like that, and it will automatically do it if you activate that process. Now there's a time catch shot that you can of course take and do. Let's take a look at the scenery modes. You've got some normal HDR, panorama, continuous shot, so you can take and do. In settings, of course, you've got a quick edit menu, flash, zoom, brightness, focus, much of the same things you'd find in most Androids. Image size, here's actually the scene mode that will do different things. Sports, sunset, smart shutter, night. There's your ISO mode, your white balance mode, color effect, timing, geotagging, auto review, shutter speed, all that good stuff. There's even a camera help guide to give you some help, and of course you can reset the settings. So really great menus they've taken and given you here that you can take and access. Now let's take a look at some of the pictures that we took with the device. Like I say, we really like some results we got, and of course you can see here some of the silly pictures we just took. Now it takes great video and great night darkness video. The lamp goes really well. Let's give you some video here that we'll play for you. You can see this. Now you can't really see it in these photos, but there's a huge amount of brightness and light that's coming in the area from the lamp. The lamp responds very well at directing light, and it gets great video. You can start to see here as this comes into focus the sharpness of colors, the sharpness of her hairs and stuff. Even the grass you can see very strong on the ground that's there. So let's take a look at another shot. Here's another video shot that we did. Really good video that we're getting off the device. Comparatively with other phones, I wouldn't know. We'd have to go side by side, but it's definitely good video, and from what we can see in its clarity and resolution. So let's take a look at, you can see my dog there. Here's a close-up shot of a Bounty towel. We were trying to see how close we could get with seeing the little digits that are on there. You can get within about an inch or two and get some really close-up shots. Anything beyond that, you're going to need a special lens to attach to it. Here's a picture, color picture. This is in well-lit situations. This is at Walmart. It's an okay shot. It's not the greatest photography in the world that I've seen. And of course, these are just general shots, but the color shots are normal. It's an 8 megapixel camera. Nothing really special here to see, etc., etc. Colors come out pretty good. You can see here we did a shot of our tablecloth. Now this is very impressive. This was the shot in the complete darkness, so the shutter doesn't have a chance to find the object and focus on it first. It has to rely on shooting the flash and then hitting the object. So this is actually a complete darkness shot where the flash is activated, and this is probably the best colors we've gotten out of any mobile phone that we've taken and reviewed. It's come through pretty well in what you can see there. So we've been pretty surprised by that. It's got a great lamp and a great shutter to it. So you can see here on the video that really lightens the room up incredibly well, and the objects that are in the night light. So this is once again a complete darkness situation, and the lamp is lighting up this huge area. So we're very impressed with that. The camera does a great job. I'm really impressed with the camera. Okay, so now camera-wise, it has a pretty good camera on it with the HTC. The Carl Zeiss stuff, I guess they make great cameras somewhere in the world, but I've not really been impressed or even know why anyone's using them for these Nokia and HTC cameras for Windows. I've really been unimpressed by them. Okay, so the camera that's on the HTC is it's pretty good. It does a good job. It does a good job with video in well-lit situations. It does a good job with photos in well-lit situations. In the dark with flash, not as impressed with it. And same thing with video. In fact, I'm kind of disappointed on the video in dark environments. But hey, you mostly shoot in well-lit environments, so that's what's important. So let's take a look at some of the menus here. We've got a button, of course, that will take us to the portfolio area. You almost kind of have to really hit and miss, learn the hard way with some of these buttons. But for the most part, you can switch between your camera and your camcorder eye here. You've got different things you can put in. You've got your flash, you've got your front and back camera, you've got some menu items, I believe, right here. I've really struggled with the to just master the basics on this camera. If you press the wrong button, you go into completely different areas, and it's taken me a while to really get it down. It's just not very intuitive, and that's important in products. So you can switch between photo and video. One of the problems is if you push the wrong button, it will take a picture, it will activate the video. You also have your camera button push here. Obviously, if you're buying one of these, you're probably not buying it for the camera, but it will do a good camera job. It's a good little phone, but definitely, if camera's important to you, you may want to look at a higher quality camera phone. So you can kind of see basics of what you can do. You can adjust everything, of course. Here's some dark video that we're really not impressed with. This is shot in the blackness of a room, and it really had problems. We had to take a couple times just to get it to focus. The problem is you press the screen to try and get a focus, like you can with other cameras, it just stops the video, which is really irritating. It really had a hard time. You can see here we've got a well-lit, of course, outside photo shot that we've taken and doing with video, and it comes out pretty good for the colors. Comes out pretty good, not too bad. Dealt pretty well with the sun blasting into it, so it did okay. I mean, I'd say it's a good camera, an okay, good cameras, somewhere in there. So let's take a look at some other things that we have. Here's some shots outside. Good shots. Okay, nothing spectacular to write home to mom about, but definitely the shots are clean. They look good. They're well shot. It's definitely an 8-megapixel camera, so you've got that, and you're going to get good shots. Are you going to get great shots that maybe you might be used to with some more expensive cameras? No, but then you have to spend a whole lot more money. You can just see some of the shots that we took here. Now, this one shot was completely in the dark shot, where we totally in a dark environment, and the flash had to find itself. Not really impressed at how much it picked up in the image or the quality of the color. But like I said, it's a good little phone. I just probably wouldn't buy it for the camera. Okay, so all in all, we love both products. They're both great in their own right, and their institutions to their OS systems. The LG Optimus G, of course, I think is the greatest phone that is out there on the market right now. It comes from AT&T.com. That's AT&T.com. And like I said, it's very different than the Sprint and South Korean models, so make sure you don't get those interchanged. The build of the phone is completely different sizes, etc., etc. So you can go to att.com, check out the LG Optimus G while you're there. You can go to t-mobile.com, that's t-mobile.com, and see the HTC 8X, and in it the Windows OS operating system. Very beautiful, cool little phone. Price point on it I think is very well put, and you can be sure to check it out. Chris Voss tested, Chris Voss approved. Tell them Chris Voss sent you. Thanks to all the phone companies that send us our phones for review. And be sure to check back off in the chrisvossshow.com and subscribe to our channel so you get to see all the latest, greatest, and coolest stuff.